What's up everybody, this is Master Ian Gamer, and today I'm going to talk about a type of frequently added Overwatch content that I don't see being brought up nearly as often as it should in the Overwatch community, and that's new maps. While new heroes and events are certainly exciting, I find that a lot of people overlook just how big getting new maps can be. Not only are they the setting of the video game itself, but oftentimes they can be the greatest source of Overwatch lore and backstory. They give us a literally playable image of the Overwatch universe, which is why in this video, I'm going to go through the top 5 new map locations, which could not only add great gameplay, but also further expand on the story of certain heroes and the world as a whole. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy this video, and without further ado, let's jump right on in. So coming in at number 5, we have the very heart of the original Overwatch organization, which is the Swiss HQ. Destroyed shortly before Overwatch's dismemberment, this massive complex featured staff housing, training facilities, offices, hangars, science labs, and more. It met its demise at the hands of Jack Morrison and Gabriel Reyes, who during a conflict at the facility set off an explosion that leveled the entire headquarters. Beyond this, we know nothing of what has happened to the facility since, and even the exact nature of the explosion itself remains a mystery. One of the only real images we have of the facility prior to its destruction comes from the Uprising comic, where we get a look at a number of its rooms and corridors. However, the map itself, if it were to be added, would most likely be set in the present, and therefore the facility would be in ruins. There might be some standing structures remaining, but presumably the majority of it would be rubble, and this is what would help make it a unique map. Most of Overwatch's maps are set in either an active city or some kind of abandoned region, but none of them feel like true disaster sites. The closest any of them come will be Eichenwald, but even that is more of a derelict location as opposed to a completely destroyed one. On top of all this, the old Swiss HQ would be a perfect setting to reveal backstory on many of the game's characters as well as the Overwatch organization as a whole. Perhaps some of these still standing structures or rooms could contain various clues and details, either in the form of physical documents or computer displays. Additionally, this could be supported by the game mode, which I suspect would be either payload or hybrid. The attacking team will be trying to retrieve a payload containing some kind of valuable information from within the facility ruins, and the defending team would be trying to intercept them. All in all, a historically important location that could add a lot of great lore to the game. Moving on to number 4, we have Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Now, we of course already have this location in the form of a Lucio Ball Arena map, but that doesn't mean it can't be further developed through being added as a standard game mode map in the future, especially since Rio de Janeiro possesses some unique characteristics when compared to the game's other maps. First and foremost of these is the story significance it has with regards to Lucio and Symmetra. Both of these heroes have some of the least developed backstories in the entire game, so getting a map which is set specifically in a location that both of them are connected to is a great way to show off more of their lore. Whether it's getting to see the favela in which Lucio grew up, or perhaps Vishkar's base of operations, which we can already see from the Lucio Ball Arena, there's a ton of potential to expand on here. Maybe the map would be set specifically in a district of Rio which underwent Vishkar's redevelopment, which could give us a better idea of how exactly they managed to subordinate the Brazilian populace. Beyond just the story significance, Rio de Janeiro could also fit a so far underused Overwatch map climate, being tropical coastline. So far, the closest thing we have to this in-game right now is Dorado, which is located on the coast of the Gulf of Mexico. A tropical map could feature bright sunshine, sandy beaches, and various tropical foliage and scenery. We might not get to see too much of Rio's beaches and jungles if the map is predominantly set within the city itself, but nonetheless it would fit the tropical vibe, thus making it a great location for both story and aesthetic. Moving on now to number 3, we have South Korea. Just like Rio de Janeiro, it technically already exists in the form of the Busan Lucio Ball Arena, but who's to say that the proper standard map would even have to be set in this exact same location? There are plenty of possible map locations in South Korea, both real and fictional, which could both make for great looking maps while also building upon the lore of its native hero. If we recall back in August of 2017, the Sydney Harbor Lucio Ball Arena was released with that year's Summer Games event, and then later that month at Gamescom, we got our first look at Junkertown, Junkertown, both Australian maps released back to back, so having another map set in South Korea seems perfectly reasonable. Now, as for what exactly it would be, I think the best thing to go for regarding D.Va's backstory would be to focus the map around Mecha. The mobile exoforce of the Korean army, being a government-funded unit, would likely possess its own facilities to manage mecha operations and store the mechs when not in use. Given that their primary role is to fend off the giant kaiju like Omnic, which repeatedly attacks from the East China Sea, it would make sense for this facility to be located on the coast, if not on the sea itself, in the form of some kind of offshore platform. What I'd like to see regarding aesthetic detail and lore for this map would be the kind of stuff you'd expect on any kind of military forward command base. This could include rooms with all kinds of sensors and battle plans sprawled out across screens, a number of external battlements armed with massive guns and other defensive measures, along with some form of a garage or repair bay for the mechs themselves, possibly appearing similar to the Second Defender's spawn room on Junkertown. Maybe we'd even get a look at the troop barracks, where we may get a glimpse of D.Va's room or perhaps some reference to the other mecha pilots. Having all this suspended above the sea on some kind of raised platform might also allow for quite a bit of boop potential in any outdoor areas, and overall could offer a rather unique map layout, depending on how Blizzard might want to design it. All in all, yet another unique map idea that could provide some desperately needed lore for one of Overwatch's fan favorite heroes. Next up at number 2, we have the hard light city Utopia. This map has been one of the most speculated new map locations since basically the start. Located in India, it was constructed by Vishkar entirely out of hard light and now serves as the corporation's home base. Beyond this though, there is very little that we know about it, including what it even looks like. Going off the design of Symmetra's hard light turrets and teleporter, it wouldn't necessarily have to look much more different from a typical city, but it's certainly a perfect opportunity for the Overwatch design team to get hella creative. Given that its name is a play on the word Utopia, I'm expecting it to have a pretty fantastic appearance if it ever gets added. Beyond just its look and layout though, like the other maps on this list, it would offer a ton in the way of story potential. First and foremost would be Symmetra. Maybe we'd get a look at her own office within the Vishkar HQ, or even the academy where she studied and trained to become an architect. Beyond Symmetra herself though, a Utopia map would be the perfect opportunity to reveal more about the Vishkar Corporation as a whole, including Sanjay and his mysterious ties to both this organization as well as Talon. If he were to in fact become a future hero, this map would be a great way to build him up. But moving on now to the number 1 possible new map location, we have Control Point Galapagos. First shown during BlizzCon 2017, this map was one of many old Overwatch map concepts shown during the event. While many of the others shown clearly evolved into maps we have currently, Galapagos stands out not only as having no in-game equivalent, but also because the map itself is located at least partially underwater. Presumably located near the real-world Galapagos Islands off the coast of Ecuador, it's unknown whether the facility portrayed in this concept art is supposed to be a watch point, eco point, or is entirely unrelated to the Overwatch organization. What we do know is that it looks awesome, and that the devs themselves have even acknowledged this. Back in March, principal level designer David Adams replied to a forum thread discussing new map ideas, saying, "Lots of cool ideas. We always talk about the Galapagos map because the concept art was awesome and we really wanted to do an underwater map. Maybe someday." This alone seems like the strongest indicator that we'll one day end up seeing Galapagos as an in-game map, or at the very least, get a map based off of the same underwater theme. Either way, some people might disagree with this idea solely on the principle that swimming isn't a mechanic in Overwatch, and thus having an aquatic map would prove problematic, but that's not true at all. Presumably, the portion of the map on which we actually play would be within some kind of air-filled dome or facility, just like the Horizon Lunar Colony. But in order to differentiate it from the moon map, we could see them going for a control point mode instead of assault. And most importantly, this could allow the devs to place 3 separate locations within one map, which could end up working incredibly well for a map design like this. What if one of the 3 control points was located in a structure similar to the one seen in the concept art, but then another was located on or above the water, possibly in the form of an ocean platform, like what I suggested for the mecha base. And then the third of the control points will be located not on the ocean, but rather on the tropical coast of the Galapagos Islands themselves. Thus, within one map, we will get locations located underwater, on the water, and in a tropical beach environment. This could potentially offer the most aesthetic diversity out of any map in the entire game. Now, admittedly, I'm not sure how this could tie into any aspects of the game's story. Perhaps it would be one of the eco points that May visits after waking up from her cryostasis? Regardless, I think this is a map that would focus on being aesthetically interesting and unique over expanding the lore. But regardless, it seems like a cool possibility that even the devs themselves are interested in making a reality. And these have been the top 5 likely new map locations we could be seeing added to Overwatch. Did you like any of these ideas, or do you have your own that I didn't mention? Either way, be sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments below and by voting in today's poll card. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed this video and share it with a friend if you really liked it. Subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and turn on notifications to both help out my channel and keep up with all my future Overwatch content. This is Master Ian Gamer signing off, and until next time, have a great day.